I'm super excited today. It's going to be a conversation. Listen, loosen the collar, take off your church hat, kick off your stilettos, and buckle up. This is going to be a ride of the century. I've got my sister here, Jessie Woo, is here, and we're going to talk about absolutely everything. Ooh. No holds barred. Well, we're going to have to hold back some bars. Yeah. We have to hold back some bars. Thank you for hanging out with me today.
Thanks. You know I love you.
No, I love you more. But the
so
moment
much.
that we connected, I said, I'm adopting her out of the shelter.
Yes.
I'm taking her straight in. The one thing that you and I have in common is being PKs. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. And people have no idea the trauma of being the kid of a preacher.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
Oh, my Lord. How much time do we have?
We have all the time in the world. All the time in the world.
My father's side of the family.
Yes.
There's a long line of preachers there. So my grandmother, Joyeuse Juste, she had a huge Haitian Kojic ministry in the 80s and the 90s in Montreal, Canada. So I'm Haitian.
Yes.
I was born in Montréal, Canada, which a lot of Haitians go to because it's French speaking.
Yes.
So anyway, she had a huge ministry, and my father was her last child, and he was the only child out of all the children who was born outside of her marriage.
Okay.
So he was already a little outcasted a little bit. Yes. But he was the one who had the gift. Like he had the gift to be on stage and to preach God's word, and he was very charismatic, very smart. My father has multiple degrees, speaks multiple languages. And in ministry is where he met my mother. My mother started going to the church, and she was like children's choir director. You know, like she became like the fave. Yeah. And like they met and they dated each other, and they eventually got married, and my dad was preaching, and I was their firstborn child.
Nice.
But I think that my father's journey is very... I know you was gonna ask me about my daddy.
I know it.
I thought I was gonna come in here and pray for a husband.
Yes, we're gonna get to that.
But my father, as gifted as he is and was, he would preach Sunday morning, and Sunday night he was selling crack, and he was doing crack, and he was pimping, you know.
No way.
Yeah, like
I didn't even know that.
Oh, I've never
This was
shared
not
that.
even a setup conversation.
No,
I promise you, I didn't know that.
I don't think I ever shared that with you, but yeah, my daddy was selling cocaine and draws at night.
Did he get caught?
Multiple times.
He did time.
Oh yeah, multiple times. Like my dad was well known for in the streets of Montreal. And I even vaguely have like vague memories as a kid. I remember one time being at my grandma's house and seeing my dad on the news, just arrested, you know, like, and so yeah, it just was a lot. So my mother, she tried her best to stand by that. Like in our culture, in Haitian culture, you marry, you don't get divorced.
Right.
And you know, like in Kojic, like you marry forever. You don't get divorced.
Right.
Like that, there's no divorce. And so her thing was, you know what, let's go to Miami, let's leave Canada, you know, like, let's go to another environment where you won't have to deal with this. And he was like, yeah, okay, let's leave. We're going to leave. And when it was time to leave, he wouldn't leave. But my mama was gone. She was like, yeah, I'm not staying here. And so that's how we ended up leaving and going to Miami. And so I didn't grow up with my dad constantly in my life. I actually went 10 years without knowing where my dad was. So yeah, I don't feel like I got the full PK experience, but my mother, once she moved to Miami, she became an evangelist. And so I grew up in church. One thing a lot of people don't know about me, I played drums. I was a drummer.
No
in
way.
Church. Yeah, like,
no way.
Yeah, it was like.
I will pay cash money records to see you play the drums.
What?
I promise you I would.
Oh, you trying to say that like I wasn't good?
No,
And I was on
I just
beat.
can't picture it.
Oh, okay.
I trust your gift.
No, literally, like I was always like, I played by sound and I played by watching, even like piano and all that. Like I would play by sound and watching people. And there was one time where like our drummer didn't show up, and my mom, like, she knew, like, I would play with the drums like after church and stuff,
Right.
and she's like, Jessica, bon, the drummer's not here, ou même, montez sur drums you.
Right.
And like next thing you know, I was on drums every Sunday. I was like,
No
oh my
way.
God, no.
I didn't sign up for this.
No, but I became church drummer, and then like when I was 9, I started my own kids choir. And,
No
like,
way.
Yeah, I was very like involved. I grew up in church, but I really wish I did have like my dad and my mom. I
Yeah.
feel like that would have been a beautiful experience. But you know, it is what it is.
No, everybody's road is different. My parents
Yeah.
have been married for 54 years.
Wow.
My grandparents were married 62 years and 64 years on both sides. My parents built their ministry around family and marriage and have done books
Yeah.
on marriage and how to have a sustainable marriage. And both me and my sister are divorced.
Yeah. How do you feel like? Because
Listen.
you said 64, then 52, and then
Oh, yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you single.
Yes, neither one of us made 10. Neither one of us
Wow.
made 10 years of marriage. And my sister's a therapist, Dr. Jamal Bryant, shout
Mm-hmm.
out to you. Both of us, we were in a conversation over the holidays that our marriages probably didn't work because we tried to get as far away from our parents as possible. So we were looking for mates that did not remind us of our parents in any way, shape, or form.
Oh wow.
I wanted to ask you, you're gorgeous, you're intelligent,
Oh, thank
you're
you.
gifted. You got so much
Tell
on
me
the
more.
table. Listen, I can't think of nothing else. You got so much on the table. Tell me how you think your upbringing impacted your dating life.
Oh Lord, how much time do we
We
have?
got time. That's all we got.
You know what? Dang, why are you asking me these questions?
Because I want to know. The people want to know.
Oh my gosh, why are you asking me this? So my therapist actually told me this the year before last. My therapist said I have abandonment issues. And so I think that I have a knack for going for people who don't keep their word.
Ooh.
Like I remember being a kid and my mom, even though they divorced and we moved to Miami, my mom always sent me to Canada every summer. So my dad had no excuse. Like
Right.
my grandmother, my aunts, I still have a lot of family up there. So I would be there for 3 months out of the year. And then like, you know, if she wanted to send me some other time, she would.
Right.
But that was my dad, so you could have that opportunity. It's summertime, you know, you had that opportunity.
Right.
And I remember so many times when he would say, I'm gonna come pick you up. I'm gonna come pick you up. Ma vinchasho. Nobody sorti. I'm like, okay. And I'm getting ready. I'm like, Grandma, my dad gonna come get me. My dad gonna come get me. And she'd be like, okay.
Now, was this his mother or your mother's mother?
My mother.
Your mother's mother.
My mother's mother.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a close relationship with my mother's mother. My dad's mom, she died when I was young.
Okay.
So yeah, she's like, okay, he's coming to get you. Okay, sweetie. You know, I'm like,
Yeah, let's see.
he's coming to get me. And like, he wouldn't come.
Right.
And I just remember just feeling like, dang, why doesn't he want me? What is it about me that you don't want me? Like, just feeling that as a kid. And then I think growing up and then starting to go into relationships, I feel that a lot. Like, you'll say you're going to do something, you don't do it.
Right.
And you'll make promises, you don't keep them. And it makes you feel very, like, unwanted. Like, why don't you want me? What is it about me that you won't fight for me? What is it about me that you won't commit to me? My father never committed to me.
Wow.
And then I think being the oldest, I have 3 younger siblings, and I was always expected to do a lot. I feel like I was a mom at a very young age. But I didn't get the mothering. It was always, Jess, I need you to do this. Jess, I need you to do that. I gotta go to work, so I need to sleep. So can you make sure the kids have this? Can you make sure the kids have that? Can you go pick up your brother? Can you pick up your sister? And it's like, I didn't get that. nobody really
provided that
for me, like, or that I never felt a closeness with my mother. I feel like my mom was always just trying to get by, trying to make things work. So I didn't have that with my mom. I felt very abandoned with her, and I didn't have my dad. So I feel like in relationships, I found the same thing. Like, I will go above and beyond. Like, if I'm in a relationship, like, I'll do a lot for you. You won't even have to ask. But I feel like I never have that in return. I always end up feeling abandoned. And so for me, a lot of times what I'll do is the moment I like see certain signs, I'm gone. Like, I've had a guy tell me that before. Like, he'll say, I'm so scared of you. Like, you just will up and leave. Like, you don't even will tell me, well, where did I go wrong? I'm like, well, I feel like you should already know that.
Right.
So for me, I'm just like, all right, before you leave me, I'm gone. Like,
if there's any sign, I'm kicking the door down if there's a crack in it.
I'm gone. You ain't got to worry about me. I got my tennis shoes on. I'm out.
Right.
When
intimately, when stuff will happen in the press, media, social media, I'll reach out to you, make sure that you're okay.
Yeah.
When the whole Whitney Houston thing happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like, you did.
You gonna live.
Yeah, you did.
But I'm curious now in this conversation, is that why you were so triggered when the stuff went wrong when you tried to date a preacher?
Ooh. Oh, you know that story.
Oh, you gave it to the whole world. You gave it to the whole world.
You know that story.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so I took that as this wasn't just a random person who you encountered and dated, but it had layers.
Oh, there were layers.
Based off of
there were layers.
What your experience was and then bringing that to bear.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you this. My mother, Haitian parents, they want nothing but the best for their mother, their daughters when you're going to go marry, when you're going to go date. They want you to be doctor. You have to bring doctor, ingénieur. You know what I mean? Avocat, lawyer. And if you say preacher, that's a good one too, because contrary to a lot of beliefs, people think that Haitians don't believe in God, and that's so untrue. Yeah. Like, we're one of the most, even we have a saying in the Haitian culture, si Dieu veut, if God's will, if it be God's will, right? So let's say you say, oh, we're going to meet Monday. I'll say, okay, Monday, si Dieu veut. Lundi is Monday in Creole. So lundi, si Dieu veut. So everything is like God's will, God's will. So I remember...
Say God's will in Creole again.
Si Dieu veut.
You got to say that slow. I got a GED. Si what now?
Si Dieu veut.
Si Dieu veut.
Si Dieu veut.
I got it. God's will.
God's will.
You're going to hear me say
God's
that
will.
again.
Yeah. Yes. So you'll say, we're going to meet up on Monday, but Monday, si Dieu veut. So that's always something that we say. So if I tell my mom, like, I met a preacher and, I met this, I met that. I remember meeting him before we ever became that. I met him like probably a year and a half, 2 years before that. And at the time, he wasn't preaching anymore. He had moved to LA and he was an actor and he had said he was like a spiritual leader to a lot of people that were in the business. And, I was like, oh, okay. But it just was always a little, one thing about me, I always have questions.
Yes.
And I try not to be interrogative, but I can be an interrogator. And that's something I'm trying to,
No, it's better for you to ask questions.
It is, but
because otherwise you're going to be left with the answer later on.
Exactly.
So ask all of the questions. This is for everybody listening. No. Never be afraid of questions.
Exactly.
Ask them.
Exactly. But I think for me, there's a softer way to do it, though. Okay. Because I can be very thick. Like, I could be like that. I don't know if it's a Haitian thing, but I can be thick, So I try to soften up. But so when we had become like romantic, I did start asking more questions because he wasn't pastoring anymore. He wasn't getting placements like in acting. Right. And acting is not something that pays you a lot of money initially. Right. And so I'm seeing you with a fleet of cars. You got a Range Rover. You got the Wraith with the stars in the sky. You know what I'm saying? You got the, like you got the Bentley. You got you know, the Rolls Royce, you got the BMW. So I'm asking questions now. Why you got a fleet of cars, and when I come to your house, you ain't got no food like in the fridge?
Yikes.
Or you're not eating unless
You buy it. Uber Eats. I got the whole thing.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was like, And then I remember him saying to me, you know, I don't want to be a preacher anymore. I left that behind because they thought that I was doing all this stuff that I wasn't doing, but I need $10,000, and I'm getting asked to preach at a convention or something like that, preachers conference, and they want to pay me $10,000. I was like, well, go ahead and do it. But I don't want to do it because I don't know if I want to go back into that world. And I was like, well, don't do it. But I need the money. And I was like, is this man trying to ask me for $10,000?
No.
And so I said, do it. And he said he wouldn't do it. And so I looked up on my socials one day, and it was the date that he said that the conference was. He said he wouldn't do it.
Right.
And I guess we had mutuals, and somebody posted him at the conference. And the conference was here in Georgia. And I was like, that's strange that you didn't hit me up.
Right.
Tell me that you were doing it. But I had remembered he had mentioned another girl to me that he had dated. And he didn't know. And he didn't know that I knew her enough to reach out to her.
No.
And the moment...
No.
And the moment I reached out to her, she knew. She knew. She was like, what do you want to know? She knew. She knew who the swindler was. She knew. And so going back to your question, which was, wait, what was your original question? You said...
I don't know. I blacked out.
Wait,
I didn't even mean to go this far.
Yeah.
I was asking you,
did
your relationship when you dated a preacher trigger what took place with
your
dad and with your mom?
Yes, because
you done gone all the way to the race. Yes, come on back. Come on back.
No, it triggered that because it was the lying. My dad is a very good liar, very charismatic, will look you dead in your eye and tell you a lie from the pits of hell.
Is your dad living?
Yeah, he's living. Oh, yeah.
You know he's listening to this.
I know. Oh, he know who he is.
Okay.
My daddy know he ain't bleepity bleep. Like, he knows. Like,
but have you healed from what happened?
No.
You have not.
No.
And the reason why I asked that is 83%, Jessie, 83% of adult preachers' kids don't go to church.
I definitely be going to Bedside Baptist.
Yes.
I come here sometimes.
Yes, in the spirit. In the spirit.
I definitely be going to Bedside Baptist.
Yeah, no, but the favor that is on your life is absolutely remarkable.
Yeah.
How it is that God just continuously opens doors for you. But are there moments where you got to ask God, are you there? What is happening?
Of course, all the time.
Yes. How do you, with that upbringing that's in you, how are you able to maintain that relationship with God?
Ooh. It's an active, I feel like I make the active choice every day. Because even post my dad, you know, what I experienced with my father, what I experienced growing up in church, I actually went on to work at a mega church. I worked at a church. I worked at a church called Potential Church for 3 years. First, it was Flamingo Road Church.
But what were you doing there?
So I was the children's ministry leader.
No way. Yeah. I need a youth pastor.
Really?
Yeah, come on
over. And kids love me.
Like, I bet it. Come on
kids
over. You're going to explode the youth
do?
program. Come on over.
Oh, my God. You know what? I would love, I've always said I really want to get back to that. I think it's just, it tugs at your heart. Like, I take kids personally. Like, I found myself getting so involved with the kids, like, to the point, like, till this day, I'm good friends with so many of the parents that were in the ministry till this day. Like, Fred Taylor, who's a big football player, his kids were there. Like,
nice.
You know, we're friendly till this day. Like, I love children. Like, I have a love for children. I love children, and I fell into children's ministry, and we would create songs, and I did a children's worship choir there too, and I'd have them perform in a big church. Like, it turned into a big thing where the parents were like, oh, when the kids perform in a big church again? Like, their families would come. Like, that's I think that's a calling that's on my life too. My mom loves children. She was a
Nice.
children's choir director. I love children, but I think even working in the mega church, I saw things that I didn't like. That hurt me too.
Yeah,
and I
but
was
let me give a disclaimer though.
Yeah.
You will see stuff in a storefront church that
I
you
know,
won't like.
I know.
Yeah, let's
well, I'll say
I
this.
don't want the mega church to just get a bum
No,
rap.
I know. I'll say this.
Yes.
I experienced a lot of racism there.
Okay.
So the church was white led,
Yes.
and the pastor, like when we would have like meetings, it was so clear how the distinction between his relationship with the black workers
Yeah.
versus the white, or the non-black workers
Yeah.
versus the black ones. And it just was a misappropriation of funds, also with just, like I said, the way he would speak to us. And I'll never forget my leader. She asked me, she would do like this Muppet show. She had a white Muppet. And she would, her Muppet was white and country.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, we should get a black Muppet. I was like, cool. And she's like, we should name her Shaniqua. And like all the stuff she was saying was very like, you know.
Stereotypical.
Right.
Yes.
And I said, yeah, so.
Well, I got a problem with black people that go to white churches.
Okay.
And let me put it out there because you never see it in the reverse.
True.
You never see it in the
True.
reverse. And what I say to
True.
friends
True.
of mine who go to them is that they'll let black people on the praise team, let
Yep.
black people on security,
Yep.
let black people preach, but there's never a black person
No.
in the financial.
Ever.
That's my issue. I stand on that. I
Ever.
stand on it. So I'm all for we are the world, that we one body, but there's got to be some equity on it. I saw, Jessie, this crazy interview. I'm going to send it to you. William Shatner from Star Trek interviewed Mike Tyson. It was a couple of weeks ago. He said something that messed me up. He said, tell me what you do before a fight. And Mike Tyson, Jessie, said, I cry before every fight. So when Shatner said, you cry before every fight, why? He said, because of who I become in the ring is not who I am. So for me to fight, I've got to be a person that has no compassion, that has anger, that has rage, that has hostility. And I have no sense of heart for anybody else. So I cry because I know I have to become this person. I want to know, how do you decompress after being on Wild 'N Out? No, what part of you do you sacrifice or say, you know what, people don't really know who I am.
Yeah.
They just know this segment of this persona.
I mean, first of all, Wild 'N Out it's been a great experience. I'm thankful to Nick Cannon for putting me on it. It's very competitive. Like, it is very competitive. When you mentioned the Whitney Houston joke, like, I had an idea of how I wanted that joke to go. You know, I just wanted to end it with the singing.
Right.
And I remember I ran it by one of our writers who's brilliant. And he was like, sometimes the writers will tell you how to punch up a joke.
Right.
So he made some suggestions. And I was like, okay. I didn't know what I was going to do until I got on the stage. I really didn't know. And I did it. And when I did it, like, I mean, the rumbling and that was crazy, you know, and that was fire. Like, and then of course the public sees it, and then you see there's people who really, really like it. There's people who really, really hate it. But I feel how you decompress from those experiences is I am who I am.
Yeah.
When you do a show like Wild 'N Out, the show is called Wild 'N Out.
Right, you're right.
You go on there to wild out.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
And sometimes it can be a lot because everybody's trying to out-wild each other. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can get lost a little bit. And then there's stuff that happens behind the scenes too. Like, entertainment is not, it's not as glamorous as people think it is.
Well, the bandaid is ripped off.
Yeah.
The bandaid is ripped off, and people got questions.
Yeah.
Especially in the undercurrent of this whole Diddy thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So
yeah.
from what it is that we're
Yeah.
hearing, with no detail.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
no
yeah.
detail.
Yeah.
But how dark is the entertainment industry?
It's so dark. It is so dark.
Wow.
Like even with, I'll tell you something I've never shared. When I first I first did Wildin' Out 2016. I was a Wildin' Out girl, and one of the cast members, I was in the hotel lobby, just got there, got dropped off, trying to find my room. He was like, "Hey, I can help you to your room." And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's such and such."
Right.
Like, my brothers love you, my sister loves you, whatever. He's like, "Oh, that's cool, that's dope." You know, we're chit-chatting, and he gets me to my room, puts my bags down, and he turns around and he tells me, "So what happens, like, stays between you and I won't tell anybody." And I looked at him and I said, "You need to leave now."
Wow.
And so he leaves, and he was like intentionally mean to me that entire season.
Wow.
Like intentionally mean. So anyway, I do that one season of Wild Out as a Wild Out girl. Years later, I was talking about colorism. I had faced colorism as a Wild Out girl. When I originally auditioned, I auditioned as a comedian. I didn't have the following. I didn't have, like, you know, nobody knew who I was. And the woman who was casting for Wild Out Girls, she was like, "Well, you know what? You can just be a Wild Out Girl." And she did it as a favor to the person who sent me in to audition.
Right.
And so as a Wild Out Girl, sometimes you get speaking roles. And I got I got 2 opportunities to speak, but each time they were taken away from me, like, as I was getting ready to do it. And that person told me, "Well, you know, you don't look like the other girls. You're not exotic looking."
Wow. So colorism still exists in 2024.
Of course. So anyway, I did an interview. That clip went viral. Nick Cannon saw it, and he comes to me. He says, "I'm really sorry about your experience. I think you're talented. I want you on the show." That's how I got on the show.
No way.
As a comedian.
Wow.
But what I've never really shared was getting back on the show. That person had saw that interview as well.
Yeah.
And so she went out of her way to make my experience a living hell. Like, she made sure to tell other people who were on the cast, "Don't talk to me. Don't talk to Jess. She did this, she did that." Like, it was like that first season that I joined, it was like hell on earth. And even then, I had that Whitney moment.
Right.
Even, you know, throughout all that. But anyway, so last year, when was it? The last time I filmed? Well, it was last year, early last year. Remember that person that had took me to my hotel room.
Yes.
So by then, you know, they're still on the show, and we, you know, we're cordial, and I felt like he had changed, and you know, like, he was like very helpful to me, gave me a lot of advice. And there was one night after filming, we were like in the hotel lobby, and I told him, I was like, "You know, I'm really happy about, like, you know, where we are now. I feel like you've been so cool with me, and you've given me so much advice. You know, the first time I met you, this is what happened." And he was like, "Oh no, that didn't happen." I was like, "Yeah, that's what happened." He was like, "Well, you know what? I think you and I should have sex tonight." Literally looked me in my face and said that. "I think you and I should have sex tonight."
Wow.
7 years later, still like, it's just so dark. But the thing too is, the person who the show belongs to,
yes,
has a certain track record with people, with women on the show. You know, half of his baby mamas are people who have been on the show. And so when you look at the head, things come from the head. It trickles down. So if you're known to behave like this with women who are on the show, what can I expect from other guys who are on the show? Yeah. They're going to follow suit. They feel entitled to that, right? It's still a problem. It's still an issue.
Right.
But can I even look at that man and look at him and say, "You dead you're dead ass.
Right.
I don't know what I could say, but
No,
like
you fine.
it's like, you know, but it's like when the head has set the tone for how your behavior should be in this business.
Right.
And people don't understand that is all over the entertainment industry. All over.
Yeah. And what I appreciate is that for males and females, again, that we're learning this year, is the strength and the internal fortitude and the value of self.
Yeah.
To say my talent is enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
That what it is that I have to offer.
But sometimes, like how you said, how you decompress. I remember that night I called my friend and I just was like screaming and crying. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Wow.
I can't do this anymore. I don't know if I want to do this anymore, because it's like sometimes talent isn't enough, right?
Woo.
For me, I feel that whatever's for me is for me. I am convinced that no matter what, God will always provide a way for me. God will always light my path. He will always open doors for me, make room for me. I've watched God do some extraordinary things in my life. I don't come from a family who is in the business. Like, they're looking at me like all they can do is pray for me. Like, you know what I mean? They have no idea. My family is a family of nurses. Like, Haitians, we're nurses, we're doctors, we're engineers. That's what we go do.
Yes.
So they're looking at me like, girl, we will not prier pour, not prier avoir. We have a song in Creole. Ma prière vel, ma prière vel. So it's like, I'll pray for you. Yeah. That's all they can do. But I remember like calling my friend, like crying and screaming about it. And she was like, Jess, you don't have to do it no more. You don't have to do it anymore. Yeah. You don't have to. There's other things that you can do. And so how do I decompress? I cry, I scream, I cry to God all the time. Like I seek God all the time. And sometimes I feel like how you said, it's like, are you there? Are you there?
Right.
Or like, are you there? You know, what could I be doing better? Like, you know, there's a lot of things in my life where I'm like, am I missing the mark? I thought I'd be here, but I'm not. I thought I'd be married, but I'm not. I thought I'd be a mom, but I'm not. You know, like, what am I doing wrong? And I think a lot of times God is telling me, you're not looking at what I've done.
That's right.
You're not looking at what I've done. If you look more at what I've done for you, you'll have the faith. Like, you'll have the faith for what's next, what I'm going to do next. But I need you to remember. I need you not to forget. And I think that that's like my walk with God right now. It's like, I need you not to forget. Sometimes, like, you know, I asked you to come pray over my home. I'm going to do it in July because that's when all my family can come. But sometimes I sit in my house. I'm like, man, I've done that with my talent.
Yeah.
So according to God, my talent is enough.
It is.
It is enough. In the industry, it's not, but my God is bigger than the industry.
Man, that's great news.
You know, and so that's where I am.
I got to ask you this. We're in the middle of an election cycle. Mm-hmm. And
I'm leaving, child. I can't.
No, you can't leave yet. Don't leave after November.
Okay.
But the last time you and I were together, we were talking about some issues that were going on in Haiti.
Yeah.
And the immigration policies towards Haitians is so much different than the immigration policies for Cuba. Which is 53 miles away.
Yeah.
And I wanted to really hear, because when we talk about African-American people are a lot of times disconnected from what's happening for other brothers and sisters around the globe, is what do you think African-Americans can do to strengthen our sense of community with people who are from Haiti, from Jamaica, from Ghana, from Belize? How do we strengthen those ties?
You know, first of all, I want to say this. I want to thank you. Yeah. I always tell people how much I love you, because anytime I've asked you for help when it comes to Haitians, you never ask me any questions. What can I do?
Yeah.
You write a check. Like, you've never not said no.
Did I tell you about the first time I went to Haiti?
I don't remember, no.
So I'm traumatized by Haiti, and we're going to
Really?
get back to it. When I was 12, Christmas morning. No, I couldn't have been 12. Maybe I was 11. I have one sister. She's 9. That's the only Christmas in my life that I can remember my parents gave me everything I wanted. Only Christmas in my life. So after we open up all our gifts, me and my sister high-fiving each other, we going crazy. My mother says, you all get dressed. We're going on a trip. It's like, we're going to see Grandma. My grandma lived in New York. Says, no, pack all your summer clothes.
Yep.
We're going to the beach.
Period.
We get on a plane and land in Port-au-Prince.
Ooh.
We go to Port-au-Prince, Haiti. I'm 11 years old. My sister and I, and we go check into the hotel that's in a mountain somewhere. And after we check in, my mother...
Y'all stayed in Port-au-Prince or you went north?
No clue. I had to call my mother after the show.
Okay.
Afterwards, we go to an orphanage in Haiti. And
I already know what you're about to say.
Oh, yeah. We get there, and my mother goes to the car and brings out our 2 suitcases. In the 2 suitcases, Jessie, is all of our Christmas toys.
Yep.
And she makes us give them away to the
Yep.
kids in Haiti.
Yep.
And says, you all are not going to be middle-class entitled kids. You have to see how blessed you are.
Yeah.
In that moment really changed my life. It changed how I see things, and my connection to things, and my sense of knowing that my blessings far trump whatever my complaints are.
Yeah.
And so when you call, is really taking me back to that moment. That thank you for not making me give all my stuff away. So if all I got to do is give away a check, then that's fine.
What's so funny is what you just described is the childhood of every Haitian living abroad.
No way.
Yes. Our parents make us give everything.
I did not know that.
Everything. I'll never
Wow.
forget, because I grew up going to Haiti all the time, but I'll never
Right.
forget one time my mom was like, we're specifically going na mission. C'est na mission pour aller. So that's a missionary trip.
Yeah.
We went up in the mountains in a zone called Titan, and we were just there for a week. No electricity.
Ooh.
Nothing. And I remember the first day we got there, I was like, this can't be where we stand
This
at.
is it. This is
But
it.
I loved it.
Wow.
Loved it. I mean, we drank from the river.
Yeah.
I watched them kill a goat, and I was like, oh my God, the goat.
Yes.
But that night, that goat was so good. Oh my, that was the best goat.
Right.
Oh my God. It just was an experience. It was a time. But here's the thing. I feel that a lot of Black Americans have this perception of Haitians and Africans and Black immigrants that come that we think we're better than you all. And what I always say is, it's not that we think we're better than you all. We grow up with something called shame. Want. That's how you say shame in Creole. Want. Everything brings shame. Every little thing that you do that's bad, that has a bad connotation, brings shame onto you, your family, your future kids. Like it's a big thing.
Yeah.
Like, you have sex before marriage. The entire family knows, and they are stoning you. Yes, like
Wow.
it is like a modern stoning. I'll never
Yes.
forget. When I lost my virginity.
Yes.
I'm not a virgin. I lost my virginity, and I told my mother. Mind you, I was in college.
Wow.
I was in college. I was in my second year of college. I lost my virginity. And something just told me, you know what, let me stop lying to my mom, because like she was talking to me as I am a virgin.
Yeah.
And I said, Mom, I want to tell you something. What? It's like she could tell I was going to tell her something. I'm like, I'm not a virgin. She calling everybody. The WhatsApp is going crazy. Everybody knows I ain't a virgin no more. People coming in town, they praying for me, they laying hands on me. It was crazy, to the point where I went into a deep depression.
Wow.
And I went to a friend's church for revival, and there was an altar call. And I went up to the altar, and the preacher looked at me and said, God is telling me to tell you to forgive yourself. He's forgiven you.
Wow.
Literally. He's forgiven you.
Yes.
And he said the verse, oh my God, I'm saved, but I ain't that saved. He said, you get up, what is it? You fall down, you get up 7.
Yes. Get back up another
right.
time.
And I said, well, I only fell once.
right. He knew the other 6 was coming. Okay. He knew the other 6 were coming.
But I say all that to say, we grow up with shame.
Yes.
You come to America, you guys think so freely. Y'all are so free. Y'all have opinions. I couldn't have no opinions with my mama.
Well, you've been delivered from all of that.
Well, yeah, I have.
You done called your father everything on this live podcast.
But even my mom, sometimes
yes.
she watches me and she'll watch my content. She's like, that's not the girl I raised. That's not, c'est pas comme ça me vo. Like, still, to this day, it's like, that's shameful, you know? Yeah. And you come here, you guys are so free thinking. You dress how you want. The women have opinions. Like, you know, in my culture, Haitians look down on me all the time.
Yeah.
Because I have such an opinion.
Right.
I speak up for myself. You know what I mean? And that's just not our culture. So when we come here, it's like, we'll see you guys do some things. And it's like, you know, and it's like, right. Oh, y'all think y'all better than us. No, it's just like, y'all are so free.
Yeah.
We were so bound to shame. Like, there's just a lot of things we just are not supposed to do, not able to do. And if you do that, like, your family will disown you. And I think, first of all, it's just the perspective. And then I think it's also remembering that there is so much Jamaican history, Haitian history, yeah. You know, in Black America and in America, period. Look at Marcus Garvey.
Yeah.
Look at what he did.
That's my hero.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Look at, you know, Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable. He was the first Haitian settler here. He founded Chicago.
That's right.
Chicago was founded by a Haitian. You know, the Louisiana Purchase. You know, Nat Turner was influenced by what happened in the Haitian Revolution. Right. Like, we are all in this together. Like, literally, when I went to Ghana and I saw Ghanaian people, and, you know, there you get named by the day of the week right. that you're born. And I was like, I don't want everybody named. You know, I'm Haitian, I'm rebellious. I don't want a name that everybody got. Right. And I remember looking up Ghanaian names, and I found the name, and it said Mausi. And it says God's hand is upon her. I was like, I want that name.
Nice.
And when I said the name to someone else, I was like, oh, you picked the Airway name. And I was like, who are the Airways? Oh, the Airways are people who migrate from Benin and Togo to Ghana. And they live amongst the water. And they're known for voodoo. They're known to...
No way.
I was like, I picked...
Welcome to Ancestry.com.
How you doing? Okay, I ain't need to pay no white person to tell me where I come from.
Yes.
I picked it, and I picked my people's name.
I love it.
And I was just so fascinated by that, and we're just all one.
I love it.
We're all one people, and I never understand the xenophobia. I'll never forget when I reached out to you about what Pastor Keon had said.
Yes. Yes.
Never forget how he went viral for saying Haitian people, the reason why Haitian people experience what they experience is because of voodoo. And you was like, no, that's not true. That's not, you know, a smart thing to say. And you put me in contact with him.
Yes. Side
note, he was very willing to speak up publicly about it until he realized I wasn't just hilarious. So he thought I was just hilarious. When he realized I wasn't just hilarious, he was like, oh, you know what? Well, I'm just not going to address it publicly. Mind you, like, I had set up things for him. Like, hey, like, the Haitian Bridge is an organization that's in Texas that works towards legislation for Haitians. Why don't we partner together? He didn't want to do it. And I was like, wow. So you're willing to spread xenophobia when you know it's not right.
He didn't know.
Well,
he didn't know.
He didn't know.
That's my guy. He didn't know.
He's your guy, but when I tried to correct him,
he didn't know. He didn't know. I love you, Keon. He didn't know.
Well, I don't love you no more. No, because
I get it.
Here's the thing. Yeah, because I feel like it is
my
very
blood
important.
pressure's going up.
No, because I think it is very important. The same way Black Americans deserve all the respect, all the honor.
Yes.
for what Black Americans have done in this country and are still doing, and how this country was built on Black Americans' sweat, blood, tears for centuries. And we need to honor that as Black people who come here, and not look at you and be like, I'm better than you, you this, you that, you on wealth. Like all the stereotypes. I feel in reverse. It is very important for Black Americans to look at other Black cultures with honor and respect as well.
I agree. I can't fight it.
Yeah.
I'm with you. What is the one thing you wish that people knew and understood about you?
Oh my gosh.
Just one thing that you wish that they knew and understood, because a lot of people see you on TV or see you on social media, and they only have one dimension of your being and don't really realize you're a living, breathing person. What's the one thing about you want people to know?
That I have a heart of God. I do. I feel like I have a heart of God, the heart of God in me. I may not always behave accordingly, but I do have, God is the center of my heart.
I see it.
Yeah.
You're radiant.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love your spirit. I love your heart. This is Dr. Jamal Bryant. Let's be clear. The podcast is going to change the game. I'm so grateful you hung out with me today.
Thank you for having me.
We got to do it again.
Yes.
And I need to see you before the housewarming.
Of course. Of course. I have a podcast I'm working on, so I'm definitely wanting you to come on.
Oh, no, I'm coming. And I need to meet your dad.
You should.
I have to have a conversation with your dad. You should. With no microphones and no cameras. But I got to see my guy.
We gotta get his passport together, child.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have good. I'll go see him. Me and you will go see him.
Really? Oh, I would love that.
No, we'll go see him. Yeah. Thank you all for hanging out with us. I need you to share this with everybody. Tell everybody about it. Stay locked into JamalBryant.org. It's only gonna get gooder and gooder. See you next time. I've just had one of the most riveting conversations I ever had. So much so I need to go take a nap. I'm liquid Drano. My sister absolutely laid it all on the table. Thank you for hanging out with me, Jessie.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're going to want to see all of this and behind the scenes. Go directly to JamalBryant.org and stay locked in.